Sup you beautiful people. Hope you've had a fantastic day. Welcome back to another new episode of What If Naruto Was in the Marvel Universe. If you guys enjoy this what if, comment down below and let me know. And go ahead and check out other what ifs in the channel after watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a like, and also share this video with your friends. So now let's start this video. Puente Antiguan, New Mexico. June 2nd, 2010, 10:15 local. Somebody really wants to kill you, man. Naruto said as he lazily stared at the incoming army, though it's only a mask for his excitement. I have no idea that Loki was given access to all of Asgard's defenses. Thor solemnly replied. Right. That blue-eyed emo bitch has illusionists. Naruto supplemented with a satisfied nod. Thor turned around and glared at Naruto. Have care with how you speak. He's still my brother. Thor practically growled out before realizing something. Did you say blue? His eyes are green. Do you really want to talk about his eyes right now? Naruto asked incredulously but filed that information for later. You're right. We should deal with them. Thor answered before his expression turned a little darker. Even if we die trying. Midgard doesn't have the power to deal with one destroyer, not to mention 10. The atmosphere turned a little more somber as they realized how, for the lack of a better term, fucked they were. Well, everyone except for Naruto. Naruto. Thor called out. I understand that you're a soldier of some kind. I would like for you to take Jane, Darcy, and Eric away from here. Naruto just stared at Thor for quite a while, letting the destroyers get closer and closer before releasing a full-blown laugh. Hell nah. Would you think I cleared this town? Naruto let out, surprising everybody. Though I can take them out of here. I can do that much. He pulled 3 stones from his pocket and tossed them at the humans. Don't barf when you land. The others won't appreciate it. They would have asked a question, but they suddenly disappeared. The trio arrived at a mountain face overlooking the town quite some distance away. Around them was what they assumed were all the other residents, bound and gagged. Well, what's this? Darcy shakily asked. Judging from the guys in the suit over there. Eric pointed to one group of tied-up guys. It looks like the blondie isn't an agent after all. Back in the town, Thor, Sif, and the Warriors 3 were staring at Naruto with a dumbfounded expression. Transportation magic is one of the pinnacles of Asgardian magic. It either requires a specially made object to channel the energy from Yggdrasil or using dark energy to bypass most of the barriers. From the stories, the Siegers of Midgard were said to have a variation of a transportation spell, but operate on a different school of magic. However, that's no magic. That much was for sure. What are you? Sif asked in a whisper. I'm just a guy who's a little bored and saw the opportunity to alleviate some of it. Naruto responded with a shrug before pulling out 5 3-pronged knives. You can do what you want, but I suggest you stay right there based on how only one was able to wipe the floor with your asses. The Warriors 3 wanted to refute Naruto's assertion, but he suddenly threw all of his knives toward the army, before suddenly disappearing the same way as Jane, Darcy, and Eric. Not even a second later, 5 domes of air erupted from the vanguard of the destroyer army. It left behind 8 mangled destroyer bodies and at least 10 damaged ones. By the All-Father. Sif gasped out. Thor snapped out of his stupor when an explosion of fire occurred in the middle of the army. The destroyers were already focusing their attention on Naruto, so they were able to have a bit of a breather. We're not going to miss our chance for a battle. Thor started. The bards will sing our greatness across the stars. Valhalla doors will be open wide for our arrival. He spun his hammer around, gathering the storm clouds up in the sky. Come on, friends. Glory awaits. Thor flew high up the sky, gathering the lightning into his hammer, before slamming it straight down towards the center of a cluster of 4 destroyers, sending them flying. These destroyers remained unfazed and stood up rather quickly. That's when Sif and the Warriors 3 arrived and taking on 1 destroyer each. However, it quickly became apparent that they were barely gaining ground against their opponents. Only their superior skills, impeccable teamwork, and Thor's firepower and support enabled them to slowly defeat the 4 destroyers. After 5 minutes of intense battle, they were able to put down and damage the destroyers using Thor's lightning and weather manipulation abilities. He dismantled the armor, revealing a flame core eerily similar to the Eternal Flame. Too similar in fact. The group turned around after another explosion occurred. But this time, it sounded like something heavy landed on the ground. Littered around the area were different parts of around 30 destroyers. Some were more damaged than others, but all were non-operational. At the forefront of the assault was Naruto, kicking, punching, and ripping his way through the destroyer army. He's not even using any of his chakra techniques now, since he found out how he severely overestimated the durability of the walking tanks. They're just like the durability of a top-class chakra armor with an added regeneration perk. Not like that it's much help. Naruto could kick through the torso of a destroyer with a moderately powered kick. He can also tank multiple concentrated fire lasers, even without chakra enhancement on his skin, since the chakra metal under his skin could endure almost any attack. He's basically stronger, faster, tougher than the destroyer assholes. Of course, even through the mildly disappointing but still entertaining fight, Naruto didn't forget to take a sample of the metal. It's as, if not, more durable than vibranium, but without the kinetic energy absorbing capabilities. Although, his chakra could move through the metal without much difficulty. Something to test for later. Naruto just finished off the 80th destroyer by plunging both his arms through the chest and ripping it apart when he decided to take stock of the situation. 10 minutes of Chunin level to Jutsu with minor strength enhancement, and he already defeated that much. To be fair, the first 20 or so were defeated with chakra techniques like Rasengan and Katen. Kakyu no Jutsu. Far behind Naruto were the Asgardians, staring gobsmacked at him. Well, the 5 of them were able to defeat 4 destroyers, so they're not completely incompetent. You guys going to just sit there and watch, or are you going to? Naruto didn't even get to finish his statement when a daring destroyer blasted him at the back of his head. The skin and hair at the back of his head were basically burned off, revealing the metal under the skin underneath. Even without the Shinigami eyes activated, he could easily imagine the surprised expression from the Asgardians, but that's neither here nor there as he was already healing. You motherfucker. I'm talking here. Naruto dashed towards the interrupting destroyer. A fraction of a second later, Naruto's arms were already around the destroyer's head, and after a quick maneuver around it, he already removed the head. He let it drop down the ground as well as the head. That just leaves 15 of you guys, Naruto said while cracking his neck before flashing a hungry smile. What are you going to do now? 3 destroyers opened their faceplates and charged up the fire laser thing, but they were the ones interrupted this time. An arrow seemingly made if the light hit the middle destroyer, causing an explosion and launching the 3 backward. Naruto knows that arrow and who shot it. He immediately opened his Shinigami eyes and confirmed his suspicions. He saw a black SUV approaching from another end of the street, with a slightly injured Phil driving it, and Clint standing through the sunroof with the special bow Naruto made. Phil had been injured by the destroyer's initial attack, including most of his men. Sadly, 3 of the agents were too heavily injured and quickly succumbed to their injuries. Clint, as the highest uninjured officer on the field, had to coordinate the medical team and the cover-up for the eventual fallout. After setting up the base, Phil and Clint decided that they have to do their goddamn jobs and stop the walking murder tanks. That's where the very overpowered bow comes in. It might not be able to defeat the murder tanks, but it sure can hinder their advance rather effectively. Hey, find your own death machines to fuck up, Naruto shouted to the quickly approaching agents. Clint was able to read Naruto's lips, so he was able to reply. No way, Clint answered while quick-firing low-powered shots with an occasional power shot. Fury would bust a gasket if we didn't do shit. That was certainly true, but the misspawn opportunity cost was Naruto's primary cause of concern. Nevertheless, he allowed for Phil and Clint to continue their bombardment. Only the high-powered shots were able to damage the destroyers, but they quickly healed themselves. Naruto decided to end the fight as the appeal quickly died down, since the destroyers were not much of a challenge. Small cuts appeared around his arm, and a bunch of threads burst out from it. The threads rushed towards the remaining destroyers and buried themselves through the cracks. They spread out inside the destroyers, taking over the movement functions. Using only the threads, Naruto controlled the destroyers, making them fight each other. However, the destroyers punching and kicking each other was highly ineffective as the lightweight metal armor and regenerative capabilities made them shrug off the attacks. In the end, he just pulled on the strings, ripping them apart into scrap metals. The threads retreated into Naruto's skin before the skin closed. Wriggling masses moved from his arms towards his heart until all the wriggling slowly disappeared. If the Asgardians were shocked then, they couldn't compare now. Their eyes glued on Naruto, unblinking. Nothing, absolutely nothing in the whole known universe has that powerful of skill and is diverse. The All-Father himself has a large assortment of skills, but only a few will reach levels that could easily obliterate the destroyers, all of which are either facilitated by the Odd Enforcer magic. Naruto turned around and opened his mouth to say something towards the Asgardians when he suddenly stopped. Motherfucker, Naruto exclaimed before turning towards Clint and Phil. Everyone from the town and some of your agents are in that mountain over there. Seeing Clint and Phil's questioning glance, Naruto continued. Code Green and Culver. Fuck. Clint groaned out, and Phil clearly shared the sentiment. Well, good luck then. I thought dealing with that kind of stuff is your job, Naruto asked. No. This is our job, Phil clarified. Somebody else will deal with that one. Well, see you later, I guess. Naruto resignedly said before disappearing, leaving what they assumed was a clone. Come on, let's deal with the aliens. The clone said before walking towards the Asgardians. Culver University, Willowdale, Virginia. June 2nd, 2010, 12:30 local. Hey. Why did you? A Humvee door slammed straight to his face, interrupting his question. The heavy door dropped to the ground. Allow him to enter. Eric brushed off the cartoon-worthy scene and answered. You think I could stop him from doing anything? Eric took a peek around the tree, seeing a massive Hulk rampaging through the army. Is it worth it though? Naruto asked. Looks like it. Eric replied while checking his gear. Banner was able to get a rendezvous point from Stern. In Brooklyn. Naruto's serious atmosphere instantly changed, turning into something more jovial. Excited even. When? Tonight. Why? Hammer's going to present his Hammeroid line in Stark Expo. Why? What's so special with Hammer Tech? Cause those Hammeroids were upgraded by an Ivan Vanko. Naruto answered with a smile. You know, the same Vanko who almost killed Tony Stark. Oh? Eric said in realization. And Stark Expo is in Queens. He continued before staring at the rampaging Hulk. New York is going to be a war zone. One handsome place, Brooklyn, New York. June 2nd, 2010, 1800 hours local. On top of one of the highest buildings in Brooklyn, 3 figures could be seen standing on the helipad. 2 of them were wearing a suit of armor, while the other one was wearing a simple black and orange suit and tie. These were, of course, Tony, Rhodey, and Naruto. The 3 of them were waiting for the inevitable fallout of Hammer's presentation and Vanko's attack. They already have informed the police of what they described as a possible terrorist attack on one of America's institutions. They opted out of informing the military due to Hammer's connections, as few and unreliable it was. Since Tony was the one to call it in, the commissioner took reins of the operation and called back all off-duty cops. The police force had effectively surrounded the expo and Hammer Industries, only waiting for the signal to continue. Naruto had also requested for some people to patrol the surrounding area, especially Brooklyn, just in case. Tony had also made sure that Pepper and Morgan were safe. He sent them to negotiate with the owner of the building where he wanted the new Stark Tower to be built. That sent them to upstate New York, far away from the possible war zone. You've been giggling on and off for the past 30 minutes. Rhodey asked when he can't take being out of the loop anymore. Naruto tried to compose himself, but another round of laughter came out of his mouth again. It took almost a minute for him to stop laughing. You really want to know? Naruto asked with a grin. I wouldn't ask if I don't want to. Alright. Naruto fixed himself up before continuing. You know the ogre that rampaged in Culver? The green guy? I thought that's fake. Tony joined in. He didn't really have the time to check on the news and its validity due to the upcoming attack. That shit's true. Rhodey supplied. Ross has been trying to capture Dr. Banner for quite some time. All of this is done in the down low. Dr. Banner? Bruce Banner? The 7 PhD guy? Tony asked incredulously. Yeah, that guy. Something about a super soldier experiment gone wrong. Rhodey answered. Jarvis, can you remind me to look into it for later? Tony inquired. Of course, sir. Jarvis replied. Anyway, Banner hulked out at Culver cause Ross stepped in with his attack dog. Naruto interjected. Now, Banner and Ross's daughter, Betty, are making their way to Brooklyn to meet with a shady scientist to reverse his condition. And he wouldn't change, right? Right. Rhodey practically pleaded. Naruto released a giggle, essentially answering the question, causing Tony and Rhodey's stomach to drop. Ross already knows Banner and Betty are moving to New York since Blonsky, Ross's hired attack dog, already found Stearns, the mad scientist. Naruto replied, causing Tony and Rhodey to blanch. Blonsky is also drunk in power. He wants to be the next experiment gone wrong. Tony and Rhodey absorbed what Naruto said. Rhodey in particular had a deeper insight on Emil Blonsky, since he's kind of a legend in the military circles. So, you saying we might have 2 Hulks duking it out only a few blocks away from the expo? Rhodey shakily asked. Yup. Naruto cheerfully declared. I can't wait. I already got a bunch of cameras set up. You sick man. Rhodey said with a slightly disgusted voice. I know. One handsome place, Brooklyn, New York. June 2nd, 2010, 2000 hours local. Banko really wants to talk, huh? How many times did he call you now? Rhodey asked as Tony let another call go to the voicemail. Oh yeah. He's like a creepy stalker. It would be 1,000 times better if he's a chick. Tony grumbled. When will Naruto say he would come back? Hammer's presentation will start in 2 minutes. Rhodey was about to answer when Naruto suddenly appeared with a slightly disfigured man being dragged by his throat. Okay. Who's the green gremlin? Tony asked with a hint of concern in his voice. This guy is Dr. Samuel Stearns. The fucker who Banner wants to meet. Naruto replied while slightly shaking Stearns, which released a low groan, confirming he's still alive. He just upgraded Blonsky, but an accident must have occurred, causing this guy to grow a bit. So if Blonsky's already got hulked, where is he? Rhodey asked. I moved the whole room under one of the buildings of the Italian mob in the warehouse district, an excellent place for Blonsky and Banner to meet. Naruto explained with a slight giggle. You're sick, man, but none of that explains why you have Stearns. Tony pushed forward. I just want to see what would happen to this one. Banner and Blonsky got physical upgrades, but this one only has an enlarged brain. Naruto answered. So Blonsky already became a green giant, huh? Rhodey weighed in. Nope. He's a flesh-colored hairless giant with bony protrusions. An ugly thing to look at. Naruto described, disgust evident on his face, but is not done. For some reason, he became smooth down there also. Of course, he's smooth. You just said he's hairless. Tony reasoned. No? Smooth like a Barbie Ken doll. Don't ask me how I know about both of those things, Naruto emphasized. It didn't take long for Tony and Rody to understand what Naruto was insinuating, causing them to involuntarily cover their lower regions. They would have liked to ask more questions about the subject, but Jarvis interjected. It's showtime, sir. Alright. You heard Jarvis, let's go. Tony said before closing his faceplate, followed by Rody. Naruto, on the other hand, just summoned another clone to take turns to a secure location, and to make sure he stays unconscious. Tony and Rody didn't wait for Naruto and just headed to their designated areas, Tony to Stark Expo and Rody to Hammer Industries RD building. However, it didn't take long for Naruto's entertainment to arrive, or rather, wake up. He created 4 clones and sent them to each hotspot, Stark Expo, Hammer Industries, Bruce Banner, and Brooklyn's warehouse district. While that's happening, he also pulled out his phone and opened up a conference call. Get ready to earn your paycheck, Naruto said before closing his phone and jumping off the building. Brooklyn, New York. June 2nd, 2010 local. Bruce and Betty were in the home stretch to arrive at Stern's secondary location when 3 Chinooks surrounded the boat they hired to bring them to Brooklyn. Wanting to prevent the Hulk from coming out, Bruce surrendered himself. However, it didn't take long for something to go wrong, and for once, it doesn't directly relate to him. Sir, we got a radio connection request from both the NYPD and the National Guard. The helicopter pilot said through the in-vehicle audio system. General Ross thought about it for a second, and saw no harm with accepting the contact, especially if he considered the fact that there would be several steps before the communication reached him. Alright. Patch them through, Ross said before the headset's audio channel changed. What's happening? Sir? The Hulk is rampaging here in downtown Brooklyn. A voice desperately echoed through the headsets, causing everyone's eyes to widen. That's impossible, soldier, Ross practically shouted. But sir, he's right here, and he's slowly pushing us back, the voice pleaded. Multiple buildings and vehicles are already destroyed or damaged. Injuries are accumulating. We're lucky we don't have any casualties yet, sir. Ross released a large sigh before answering. I'll call for reinforcements, though it may take 30 minutes to arrive. I doubt if we could last that long, but we appreciate any help you can spare, sir, the soldier replied before the connection got cut off. Bruce was the first one to snap out of their stupor and spoke up. Turn the plane around, Bruce, in barely a whisper. What? Betty asked as she turned towards Bruce. Well, your father obviously already fucked up with trying to recreate the accident, Bruce started. Ross would have countered, but Bruce pushed on. If there's another Hulk down there, only another Hulk could take him. Blonsky was a madman who had to be put down, but not at the expense of losing Banner. Ross just couldn't take the chance. Too many resources have been thrown into the Super Soldier project just to lose everything with a very public fallout. At the very least, he won't lose all the data if he keeps Banner with him. There's another point to consider. As a military man, Ross needs to consider the welfare of the American people, and Blonsky was doing the exact opposite of what Ross stands for. However, Ross was one of the most patriotic people on the planet, and on some level, he expected everyone else to be as patriotic as him, like right now. Ross was about to open his mouth to give the order to continue to base, no matter what, when he suddenly lost consciousness, and another Ross appeared right beside him, surprising Bruce and Betty. A quick look around, it can be seen that all the soldiers sitting around them were unconscious, and some kind of transparent mirror formed around them. The clone simply shushed both Bruce and Betty before taking Ross's headset and putting it on. Turn it around, Clone Ross said with the same exact voice and cadence. Sir? The pilot replied, a little confused. Turn the goddamn plane around. We have a monster on our own that could take on the monster in Brooklyn. The clone gave Bruce a wink and a smile as he talked on the mic. So do your job and turn the plane around. There's a brief moment of silence before the chopper slowly banked and turned around. The clone smiled and nodded to himself before a cloud of smoke burst from the clone. After the smoke dissipated, Bruce and Betty could see Naruto sitting where the clone used to be. Well, what? Bruce sputtered. It's a stupid thing you did. Well, Hulk is the stupid one. Bruce could feel the Hulk getting angry hearing Naruto's statement, but he kept a tight lid on it. I mean, you just have to bring one guy with you. Remember Eric? Tall, dark, and handsome. Ring any bells? Oh, how did you get in? Bruce asked. That? I landed on the roof a while ago. I'm just watching if Ross would fuck up, and lo and behold, he would fuck up. Naruto replied, not really answering the question, but it was enough to satisfy the two scientists for now. He then turned towards Bruce. But never mind that, I want to know, what would you do now? What? Betty asked, confused as to why she was being asked the question. Well, there's no way your dad would let go of Brucey Bear here without a fight. He'll have to go full nomad and backpack his way across the world all over again, Naruto explained, making their situation dawn on them. So, what are you going to do? Betty has two choices, and it all depends on what's more important for her. She can stay in her life and continue being a world-class researcher or join Bruce as a fugitive. Bruce's position on the matter was already sure. He would want Betty to stay behind and just forget about him. The fucking martyr. Bruce was about to offer his suggestion when Naruto cut him off. How close are we? Naruto, using Ross's voice, asked. Judging from his smirk, Bruce was pretty confident Naruto was purposely cutting him off. 1 minute, the pilot replied. Hover high above the area and open the cargo bay door. Be sure to pull back everyone from the area, Naruto ordered. Yes, sir. Bruce and Betty just stared at Naruto as he walked towards the cargo bay door and sent the pair a mischievous smile. Behind him, the door slowly dropped down, causing the winds to rush in, causing the pair to stumble backward. Be careful, Brucey Bear. You don't want to fall, Naruto said with a large smile. It's a high drop. Brooklyn, New York. June 2nd, 2010 local. Paycheck? We're getting paid, Steve asked. No, but someone else might. We're not the only ones, he called. Peggy answered. Both super soldiers were wearing all black tactical gear and masks to prevent anyone from figuring out who they were. Because of this, Steve opted out from using his shield, or any shield for that matter, since it would be just a dead giveaway. An enhanced individual with a shield would immediately be linked to Captain America, and as he was supposed to be still in recovery. Let's go. He's about to break through the barricade, Peggy said when the abomination threw a car towards one of the Humvee forming the blockade. Remember, we can't outmatch him in strength, but we can outmaneuver him. Be light on your feet, and don't stay long in his range. I think you know that I can handle that, Steve replied with a smile. That's why I'm reminding you. I remember how you fought, never backing down. That'll give us more problems if you take on a full swing than just backing down. Steve looks like he swallowed something sour, but nodded nonetheless. Even he himself acknowledges that he can be a bit stubborn. Without another word, the duo charged from one blind corner behind the monster, and punched it behind the knee, causing the abomination to fold. However, all it did was infuriate Blonsky, causing its attention to focus mainly on them, relieving the pressure from the military at the front. Steve and Peggy moved together like a seamless machine. Steve opted to be in the front lines by not dodging more than necessary, and actually parrying a lot of the blows. This gives Peggy, who's a great deal more agile and athletic due to Naruto's training, a lot more chances to attack Blonsky cleanly. Although the massive difference in size and natural toughness mean most of the attacks don't go through. It's a good thing that they just need to buy time for the big hitter. Blonsky took a few steps back, stunned, after a particularly powerful kick. So, Ross was able to perfect the serum, Blonsky said with a feral grin. It's no use, though. He took a step back and opened his arms wide, showing off his body. Look at me. I'm faster, stronger, and tougher than both of you combined. Then why can't you get a solid hit in? Steve taunted. Blonsky flashed a feral grin before hitting Steve with an absolutely brutal Spartan kick, sending Steve towards a parked car. Like that? Blonsky asked. As a testament to Peggy's professionality, she didn't even give Steve a second glance before doing a backflip, and picked up a utility hull cover, before tossing it to the abomination's head, buying a few seconds of relief. Steve slowly got himself out of the wreckage onto the street before stretching his back a bit. That stings, Steve groaned out. Told you to stay mobile, Peggy chided as she retreated from Blonsky's immediate range. Yeah, Steve replied, agreeing with Peggy. When will the supposed backup arrive? It should be any second now. Blonsky quickly recovered from the direct hit and lumbered his way towards him. We need to buy a few more seconds. We can't have that abomination raging across the city. You know me. Steve moved towards Peggy's side while doing some bounce steps to loosen up his muscles. I can do this all day. Steve quickly rushed Blonsky, preventing the giant from using its larger mass to gain some momentum. Blonsky just smiled, expecting another slugfest. However, something unexpected happened that caused both Blonsky and Steve to stop in their tracks. A mass dropped from the sky, created a crater, and it suspiciously sounded like a bag of meat. Looking inside the hole, they could see an unremarkable man lying face down. Now, Steve, Peggy, and Blonsky have seen many parachuting accidents. Soldiers whose parachutes never opened and just dropped straight to the ground. Assuming the guy fell from the helicopter that flew over, then the body should have been more damaged, broken bones, open skull, or at the very least some lacerations. The man in the crater doesn't even show a speck of blood. The more peculiar thing, though, was the crater formed by the impact. People dropping, no matter how high, don't make craters. Humans aren't just heavy enough to make the force necessary when the terminal velocity was factored in. Peggy must have realized something since she pulled Steve by the scruff of his neck and bolted away from the crater. Peggy? Blonsky's the other way, Steve pointed out, only slightly fighting off Peggy's pull. I know. We need to make some distance. Reinforcements here. As soon as Peggy replied, a monstrous roar echoed blasted from the crater. The Hulk's here. Brooklyn, New York. June 2nd, 2015 local. Oh, God. There's two of them. PFC Phillips can't help but blurt out as soon as another Titan emerged from the hole. Move everyone back another block. The Master Sergeant's voice can be heard from the radio. I want squads 1 to 12 to move into the red zone and check every nook and cranny for non-combatants. Make sure to stay out of the streets and avoid getting anyone's attention. The rest are going to hold the line. No one goes in the area. Phillips released a sigh of relief since he was in Squad 16. There's no way he's getting close to the two monsters having their grudge match. Stark Expo, Queens, New York. June 2nd, 2010, 20:05 local. Today, I present to you the new phase of the United States military. Hammer pointed behind him with a flourish. The Hammer drones. Heavily modified humanoid drones raise from the floor in 4 groups of 8, one for each branch of the United States military, accompanied by Justin Hammer's over-the-top presentation. When the final group was raised, all the drones saluted alongside Hammer at the crescendo of the background music, sending half of the audience into a standing ovation. Hammer was basking from the attention when 2 armor flew in, and Superhero dropped onto the stage, sandwiching Hammer. The crowd went ballistic when 2 Iron Man armor showed up. Tony and Rhodey didn't even acknowledge the crowd when the alarms started blaring in the pavilion, turning the excitement into confusion. The staff on site quickly set into action and ushered the people out of the pavilion. "What are you doing?" Hammer said with a whisper. With his microphone still connected to the speakers, everyone in the audience could hear his voice. "What are you doing? You're ruining everything. We know Vanko's with you, and he basically created those Class F imitations." Tony replied, not acknowledging Hammer's rant. "It's funny if you think about it." He walked towards one of the drones and tapped his chest. At this point, only essential personnel and some of Hammer's lackeys are left inside the pavilion. The police should already be surrounding the place and creating a safe zone. "It took you, a 120 IQ CEO whose greatest strength is copying my stuff, and a 160 IQ emo with a flair for the dramatics." Hammer was practically seething by this point, and it looks he isn't the only one who heard Tony's tirade. A Marine Hammerdrons quickly pulled its arm back and suddenly punched Tony. Only Tony's increased reaction time from continuous use of his armor enabled him to dodge the oncoming metal fist straight to his face. Tony rolled out and aimed his arms towards the drones, while opening all his arm weapons. Rhodey quickly followed suit and aimed his heavier loadouts. The drone's face indicator lights changed from blue to red before stepping of their platforms. What's happening?" Hammer asked, shocked at the sudden turn of events. In his understanding, those drones can only salute and march around in pre-programmed route. "That's Vanko screwing with you," Tony replied. "Here we go, Rhodey Bear. It's showtime." Everything was at a standstill. The only thing moving was the staff and Hammer, who was slowly moving away from where the supposed action would start. It's pretty weird seeing that there's visible tension between the two groups, when one group was made up of drones. Just like a dam giving way, the fight began. All Air Force and Marine drones flew up, breaking the glass roof, sending shards of glass raining down. It's a miracle nobody left behind was hurt. "I'll take on the flyers. You handle everything down here," Tony said to Rhodey before flying off. "But I'm the Air Force pilot," Rhodey shouted, but it fell on deaf ears. That was when one of the army drones fired an anti-tank round straight to his chest. It's a thing that his armor was both highly advanced and thick. "So that's how you want to play it, huh? Let me show you what I got." Rhodey aimed his railgun towards the offending drone and blasted it with ultrasonic shards of metal, effectively making the drone a human-shaped pile of scrap metal. The remaining drones quickly scattered, opting to make their way out by blasting the walls. "Oh, fuck. Now it's a cat and mouse." Tony was experiencing something similar. He's got to give credit where the credit is due. The drones were better at flying than he expected. The Marine drones have shitty maneuverability, and they lose more of it when firing their wrist-mounted armaments. The Air Force ones could keep up with him in low-speed maneuvers, and their shoulder-mounted machine guns could actually do some damage if he sustained a prolonged fire. That's why he had no choice but to use hit-and-run tactics to deal with them, even for his superior tech. However, even with Tony's hit-and-run tactics, he must continue pressing the drones. Otherwise, they might turn their attention to the crowds below. Even from here, he can see the ground-based drones already wrecking the area around the pavilion. Rockets and tank rounds were firing wildly, aiming at doing maximum damage. Only Rhodey's intervention prevented the worst of it. Tony was analyzing the situation when the Air Force drones suddenly broke their usual pattern and separated to cut off his potential escape routes, surprising him. Jarvis quickly sent optional routes to his HUD, but he would still take some damage by plowing through the drones with his micro-missiles. He was about to fire the missile when the drone's head in front of him suddenly exploded. "Where did that come from?" Tony asked Jarvis after he escaped his current predicament. "Tracing the shot. Mapping the area via satellite. Hacking the camera with the best angle. Bringing it up on the HUD, sir," Jarvis replied. Tony saw an African-American man with a .50 caliber sniper rifle on top of a high-rise near the expo. "That's Naruto's guy. He was supposed to be in Gulmere," Tony said to no one in particular. Check to see if he has comms and patch me through. Connecting now. You know I can handle that, right? Tony said to Eric. There was a moment of silence before Eric replied. Not from where I'm standing, white boy. Eric replied in a perfect mix of condescending and sarcastic. Tony smiled, hearing the reply. You wanna help? Check the people on the ground too. Let's see how many you can take out. You're on Stark. There should be at least 50 more incoming. Plenty of Hammerturns to go around. Well, as long as Vanko could finish what he's doing. Or at least that's what Naruto said. Ha, they really got too much time on their hands. Thanks for listening. I do hope you enjoyed. If you want the next part of this video, like, subscribe and comment down below, and turn on the bell notification. And also check out other videos that I have created and enjoy. See you in the next video. Peace.